Yesterday, I had a chance to go to a Buddhist meditation center here in South Florida, and I had the opportunity to sit and listen to a Buddhist monk give a teaching, as well as be involved in a couple of at least semi-guided meditations. It was a great hour and a half time of listening, a great hour and a half time of meditating, a great hour and a half time of understanding. And it was a very powerful event. And the monk, hello, Anton, the monk was talking about something that reminded me of something that was said by the master, by Jesus, by Yeshua, whatever you call him, if in fact it was a him that actually walked the planet, but we're not talking about that part of it right now. I wanted to talk to you about this because it was very interesting to me. And he talked about living virtuously. He talked about facilitating peacefulness within our inner beings and within our life. And the reason that he talked about it to me was very interesting because, number one, we're trying to facilitate peace, of course, in our lives now. But it's more important than that because it goes out to the entire, good morning, Catherine. It goes out to the entire world, to the people that we're around. And also by facilitating peace and virtue in our life now, we are facilitating a good reincarnation. Of course, that's a Buddhist tenet. Now, whether or not we decide that this is going to be our last incarnation or not, which is the way I'm leaning, but by promoting peace and tranquility and harmony and virtue in our lives, we are not only helping ourselves, helping our relationships, we're also helping the planet, we're helping the universe, and we are, if you believe in reincarnation and if you believe you're coming back, you're facilitating yourself towards a better reincarnation. And certainly, if you think you're going on to another place and another part of your spiritual development, being peaceful and virtuous would certainly help towards making that a better way to go. And it reminded me of some of the words within the Christian scriptures. And it's very interesting to me how the words of the master can be found in the teachings of the Buddha. They can be found in the teachings of India. They can be found in the teachings of the Far East. They can be found in the teachings of South America, Central America. They can be found in the teachings of the Native Americans. And just to give you a heads up on that, please go and watch Derek Bro's Global Witness video from last night, the 2-hour live programming. He announced the plans for, if there is support for it, of he and I, and possibly one or two other people. I don't want to say the names because I don't know if they have agreed or want their names out, but to go and explore the Hopi lands, the Hopi caves out in Arizona, New Mexico, a 4 or 5 day pack-in trip, and with cameramen, and it would be a full-blown 4 or 5 days worth of video. If you'd like to support that, contact Derek and see how you can support it. This is something that we will make happen if you want to see it. So as we go and look now, you can see right here where I'm talking about living peacefully, living virtuously. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God. And let me refresh this so I can get the interlinear up here, because I want you to see what it says in the original language. It says, blessed, blessed, happy, blessed, and to be envied are the people that are peacemakers, that are loving peace, that are making peace, that are peacemakers. To be envied, blessed, and happy are the folks that are all about making peace and being virtuous. For what? They will be called the sons. They will be called the offspring, the descendants, the representatives of what? Of the true God. So if we and when we act as peacemakers, when we live a life of peacefulness, when we live a life of virtue, when we live a life of tranquility, then we are not only blessed, within our own lives, but we're to be envied, and people will see that and say, we want part of this. We want to understand this. We want to be able to have this in our lives. So when we live in a way that's peaceful and virtuous, not only do we help ourselves, but we attract through the law of attraction and through the law of vibration, which Sandra and I have been talking about. We attract and affect people in a most positive fashion. Now, if you do the other way, if you're not a peacemaker, if you're always bickering, if you're always fighting, if you're always trying to get over on someone, if you're creating things other than peace, guess what? You are not a friend of God. And I remember the master saying, this is how people will know that you are my disciples, because you have love one for another. And I'm betting there's something deeper there than just love, because you have love one for another. Let's look that up really quickly and see what that verse says. John 13:35, and I'll take the risk and do it cold. I know it's not a good practice, because if you're wrong, it makes you look like you're wrong, but you know, I rarely am. So let's go ahead and see what John 13:35 says. And you're learning how to use an interlinear as well as you sit here and watch me do this stuff. So if you want to know what the Bible really says instead of what your preacher tells you it says, this is how you do it. John 13:35 says, by this will know all that you are my disciples, if you have love among one another. Let's see how love here lines up with the word peace. If you have love, benevolence, goodwill, esteem, if you have goodwill, if you have benevolence, if you have love. So, of course, it's very much the same word as peace. So if your interactions, and this says between people will know that you are my disciples, that you have the discipline of the Christ, if your interactions are characterized by love, benevolence, goodwill, esteem, if your actions are characterized by peacemaking and peaceful interactions. If you're bickering and yelling and screaming and fighting, then that says something about you. And it says something opposite of what this says. So we need to really take inventory of ourselves and really decide if we want to be in a place that is conducive to helping the planet and is exemplary of being following the words of the master. So, which way do you want to go? Which vibration do you want to be in? And if you say that you're a follower of the master, you really ought to act like it. Because if you're not acting like it, please don't advertise yourself as a follower of the master, because it doesn't do any good for any of us. Many of us would love to watch you and Derek. That'd be great. To preach to people out of church. We would do that too. Derek and I have talked about going out to churches and sharing the word with people as they leave these big churches. So it is a complete choice, as Catherine N. says. Blessed are the peacemakers. Do you want to be blessed in your life? Do you want to have the will of the divine and the power of the divine running through your life? Be a peacemaker. And it's interesting that after I left that meditation service talking about being a peacemaker, I went and spent the rest of the day with a person that 6 weeks ago was my sworn enemy. So there's that as well. This is New Cosmic Knowledge. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. Go watch Derek Brose's program and the announcement of our journey to Hopi lands, if that's something that you want to see happen. And we'll also have the return of the Rapscallions this week on Thursday night. We'll have Serpent and Dove on Wednesday. And if you missed yesterday's Not Your Normal Sunday show, Derek didn't make it, but it was a fantastic show. Please go and take advantage of those. Please subscribe while you're here. And if you have any questions, you can contact me at jeffreydaugherty.com or at newcosmicknowledge@gmail.com. So please don't be shy And I'm encouraging you to keep asking questions and keep questioning answers. I'm encouraging you to unindoctrinate yourself, create yourself, build the life that you'll love. And those are all inside jobs. We are the last generation of real humans. Let's live in peace. Let's live in virtue. And then it'll make it much easier for us to get busy.